All right, guys. So today is first of the year, and we are going to start making a batch of mead here. Before we do that, I want to give a special thanks for everybody on YouTube, everybody on Mead, Facebook. You guys really make this worthwhile for me to do. I want to give a special shout out to Arlene. That makes me extremely happy to see that you are brewing your own batch there, and I really hope it turns out good. Keep me informed of how it turns out, how you like it. Don't know if you ever had mead before, but that's pretty damn good. It looks amazing. The Odin brothers, I want to give them a shout out as always. There are a couple brothers that are doing reviews. They got a Facebook page. I'd like for you guys to shoot over there, check them out. On our MeWe page, we got a Scott Jansen. I want to give a shout out to you. If you can, go ahead and post the mead that you're brewing around. Get it up there, show everybody the world. Andrew, right now is a great time to get in and start brewing. You know, you could sit here and say that you could have done it 10 years ago, or you could say you're going to do it 10 years from now. Either way, it's time to get going on it, bro. One other thing is, you know, if you guys like the channel, like what we're doing, please hit that subscribe and the bell so that they'll inform you whenever we do a video like this. Now, with the everything going on in 2020, my legal advisor basically told me that I should start doing a disclaimer, you know, kind of not really encourage people of doing this. So I came up with a disclaimer. So now that you got the disclaimer in there, let's move on to our mead that we're brewing today. Now, a while back, a Harry White on our Facebook page made the suggestion of doing a brandy. And from the research that I've been doing, basically the process of a brandy is taking a wine, distilling that wine, and letting that wine distill, actually basically age in a oak barrel to give it some flavor. So right now I don't have a distill and I don't have the oak barrel. So hopefully with this $600 stimulus package, I might be able to afford to get us one of those, get us the items for that. So today we're going to start on doing the mead. Now this is going to be the same thing that we have been doing. The only difference here is I'm actually going to be adding a lot more honey. And what I'm going to try to do is get the honey up to 20% to be able to make at least 18%, because that's what the yeast is going to be tolerant to. So I'm going to ask the yeast to try to do 20, but most likely we're going to come out with 18. The items that we're going to need is first going to be a vessel. You guys are probably looking at me funny because, yeah, this is just a 1 gallon and I normally do 50 or 5 gallons at a time. Yes, this is a little low for me, but this is also going to be an experiment doing the brandy. So I don't really want to do 5 gallons of brandy right off the bat. I want to see how it's going to taste, and I don't want to put too much cost into it. The honey that we're going to be using is going to be 5 pounds of pure simple honey. This company is actually out of Kansas. I prefer to do local honey. Right now Scott Maxwell is currently out, so he's going to be getting me some here come January or July. I can't remember exactly when he said. But this is just cheap honey from Walmart, and I hope it turns out. If I can't get to 18% with this, I got a little backup of my Del Norte honey that we'll be adding to it. We're going to need a funnel to put it in the vessel. We're going to need a hydrometer and a test vessel to see where our sugar contacts are. Once we got that all done, we're going to need a bubbler. Then we're going to need our yeast, using my favorite, the Mead yeast MO5. And then we're going to need a container to get the mead or get the yeast going. I got maybe a couple shots of yeast in there. It's been a while since I've done a gallon, so I normally just use a whole packet. And then the most important ingredient or item you're going to need is a bottle of mead. Because one of the first rules is you shouldn't be brewing mead without making and drinking mead. So now that I got me a half a bottle in my glass here, we can get going. First step is going to be to sterilize everything. So right here I got my sterilization solution, and we're just going to go ahead and put everything in here and let it start soaking. Now, what we're going to want to do is also go ahead and get the yeast ready to pitch. This yeast here is dehydrated, so we are going to want to go ahead and rehydrate it. Now, the last time I did a gallon was actually over the phone, talking with Darlene up in Canada, and trying to switch measurements to my measuring system to her measuring system. Didn't really work out very well. But you really don't need to measure it. That pack there is good for about 6 gallons. And so we want to use about 1/6 of that. It's not that kosher, or it's not that important if you use too much or use too little. That's just going to, if you use too little yeast, it's just going to take a little bit longer to kick off. If you use too much yeast, it's just going to take a lot less time for it to kick off. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and add it to the water and let that set while we do everything else. Now, we're going to go ahead and take our vessel. I already pre-warmed up the honey so that this should not take too terribly long here. But we're just going to go ahead and add our 5 pounds of honey. A normal batch, you'd probably want to use 3 pounds. 3 pounds is a good number. That's not going to be too sweet, and it's not going to be too dry. It's going to be right in the middle. So as you experiment, and that's basically what making mead is just an experiment. You're going to sit there and decide that, oh, I made that batch a little too sweet. So you're going to want to next time not put so much honey in there. Or you're going to find that you made that batch too dry, and then in that case you can actually add more honey. So like I said, it's just basically an experiment. Went ahead and got the honey in there. I'm going to just go ahead and start taking some more warm water here and pouring it in the vessel, and hopefully we can get that all mixed up. And we want to just leave a little bit of room in there for head. riser. This is so much easier with the 1 gallon than it is with the 5 gallon. So what we want to do is get a right size corker that fits. I'm going to have to work on that here in a second. But we want to go ahead and just cap the end and shake it up. We might want to let it cool just a little bit more too. Basically got money shot to the face there, and the water is just a little bit hotter than what I like. But what we're going to do is basically mix it up, and we're going to get that honey all disappearing into the water there. And at the same time, what we're doing by doing this is adding oxygen into the mead. And that is going to actually help the yeast to get going, is having that oxygen to breathe. So with this right now, it is way too extremely hot to pitch the yeast, so we're going to let it cool down after I shake it up some more and get it back down to room temperature. And then once we're back down to room temperature, our yeast should be dehydrated, and we can go ahead and pitch it. So we'll be back in a few, and probably a new glass of mead by then. Alright guys, so we got it sitting here. She's cooled down pretty good, and we're just going to give it a good shake up some more, and we're just going to get as much air as possible in there. When you do the 5 gallons, it's extremely hard to pick it up and give it a good shake. There are devices which I'm working on investing into to actually aerate the mead, but we want to get as much air as possible in that in the malt here. That looks pretty good there. So we're going to go ahead and pull our capper out. I found one that fits. The bottle, the vessel that I have here, I actually just purchased this weekend from a antique store. I way overpaid, but I wanted to get this video going, and I didn't realize that the mouth of this bottle is actually different than the mouth of the other 1 gallon bottles. So do make sure you get the right one. But what we're going to go ahead and do here is check to see what our gravity reading is. Now, I'm actually really hoping for 20, but I'll be okay if it's 18. We're going to look here and see, and I am way off the charts. Like, there's so much honey mixed in with this water, I'm not even reading it on the scale. So this would make an extremely sweet mead. I should go ahead and add some more water to get it down to the 20 or the 18%, but we're just going to go ahead and see what we can get out of it. You know, this is an experiment. We are going to make a brandy, so we do want our alcohol level to be as high as possible. So we're going to add as much sugar, which was a lot more sugar than I was expecting, and it's going to be awesome. So right now we're at a good room temperature. Our yeast is pretty much ready to pitch. Want to go ahead and get it mixed up, make it look like good milk. We'll go ahead and pitch the yeast. You know, I do really miss doing the 1 gallon batches. It's so much easier. We got the yeast pitched in there. We're going to go ahead and get it shook up. Hopefully I don't money shot myself in the face again. Alright, we'll go ahead and get our bubbler. Put our cap on top of the bubbler, keep all the big spray. So there you guys have it. Here in a couple hours it will be starting to bubble, and probably in a week or two we'll go ahead and take another gravity reading, see where she's at. And once she's completely done and she's not bubbling no more, hopefully by then we should have our distill, and we'll go ahead and distill it, make some high alcohol, and then age it in the oak barrel, and hopefully I'll have that too. Meanwhile, I do want us to all kind of get together, maybe share a glass of mead together. The thing about that is we got a lot of members on the Mead page, and we got a lot of members on the Facebook page. So what I want to do is go ahead and set up a Zoom page. If you guys don't know what that is, get a hold of me. I'll help you get set up. But if we could do a Zoom page every 9th of the month and just talk about mead and the gods and drink and enjoy each other's company is what I'm aiming for. Have a happy New Year's.